All right, so Maddow here reacted to the Epstein birthday book coming out and the full Trump letter coming out and just the fallout from that. I mean, this thing was a political nuclear bomb, y'all. I mean, this is crazy. What was in that? I've never been more certain in my life that Epstein was a pedophile child sex trafficker, that he was basically the CEO of Elite Sex Crimes Incorporated. Because when you go through that book, 8 billionaires were in that book, y'all. 8 billionaires. He had dirt on all these high-level business executives. He had dirt on all these different celebrities, all these different political figures, and they're openly talking about like pedophilic shit in the fucking book. Half the time they're very direct and straightforward. The other half the time they're speaking in code. One of them said, showed a picture of Epstein's island and said in parentheses, yum yum. Like, oh, we had some great times here, yum yum. What the fuck is that? Well, anyway, so Maddow's going to talk about this, and she goes inski.
The president apparently describing a shared secret between him and Jeffrey Epstein, a bizarre reference to age, and, quote, certain things that the two men have in common. Yeah, okay. The White House today decided to claim that this is not really from Donald Trump, that this is clearly, in their words, not his signature on this document. Pretty immediately, other examples were obtained of President Trump signing his first name in various contexts right around that time. And the signature from those other uncontested signatures of his, I don't know, looks pretty exactly the same. I mean, just a layman's understanding of these things. But here, look, this is the birthday book for Epstein that has Trump purportedly signing it, Donald, in 2003. Here, the New York Times publishes an example of a book Trump signed to Jeffrey Epstein in 1997, Donald. Here's the Wall Street Journal publishing an example of a letter Trump signed Donald in the year 2000. Here's the Wall Street Journal publishing an example of a letter Trump signed Donald in 2006.
Bro, this was the weakest cope I've ever seen in my life. Like, I was watching this unfold going, that's the best you guys could come up with. It doesn't even look like his signature. Defamation. Are you fucking kidding me? Cut to immediately 17 people I follow on Twitter. Oh, Donald Trump sent me a letter in fucking 2012. Here's what it looks like. Donald Trump sent me a letter in 2001. Here's what his signature looks like. Every single one exactly the same. They were trying to make it, what the right was trying to do is say, oh, normally he signs his full name, Donald Trump. This just says Donald. Gotcha. Oh my God, you idiots. Did it not occur to you that there's also 17,000 different examples of him signing just Donald and it looks identical? Oh my God. That's the best they could come up with. Oh, he's so cooked. He is so cooked. Think about the extent to which you have to castrate yourself and give up all of your principles and your commitment to truth in order to be a MAGA sycophant. The stuff this man makes you swallow, no pun intended. It is unbelievable. All these people humiliating him. It's not his signature. Of course it's his fucking signature. What planet are we living on?
I'm no forensic handwriting expert, but if the White House is hinging its whole defense against how ferociously creepy and suspicious this all is, on how much these signatures don't all look alike, how much these signatures don't look like each other, if that's their defense, that's a terrible defense. This is the sitting president of the United States. In addition to the creepy Our Shared Secret Naked Woman References to Never Aging document from Epstein's birthday book, Epstein's estate also today handed over to Congress this photo in which Epstein, who you see on the right there, is holding a big novelty check for $22,500. It is a check that is made to look like it is from Trump to Epstein. So it's Trump purportedly paying Jeffrey Epstein more than $22,000. The caption alongside the photo, which the Wall Street Journal says was written by a longtime Mar-a-Lago member, indicates that the check is because Epstein sold to Donald Trump a, quote, girl who is described as, quote, fully depreciated for $22,500. What's that about? This, of course, comes after President Trump said just earlier this summer that the reason he had a falling out with his longtime friend Jeffrey Epstein after 15 years of friendship was because Epstein, in Trump's words, stole a young woman from him. One of Epstein's sex trafficking victims, who Trump says Epstein stole from Trump's spa at Mar-a-Lago. Real normal stuff here, you guys. Real normal. I mean, what in presidential history even approximates a scandal this disgusting? What in the history of the United States of America, for anybody in any position of public trust, approximates the level of repulsiveness that Donald Trump brings to the presidency with this trailing behind him like a snail trail?
And this is the difference between the left and the right. So here's how the left reacted when we learned, oh shit, Bill Clinton was close with Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Clinton's letter is in the book to Jeffrey Epstein. And by the way, kind of hilarious that it's one of the few letters that's not creepy or sexual. It's just like, hey, Jeff, happy birthday, man. Have a good one. Like that was a Clinton letter. But here's the way the left reacts when we heard, oh, Bill Clinton's in the Epstein files. Fuck him. Arrest his ass. That's how we react. Now, how does MAGA act when more and more just an endless amount, just a tsunami of fucking information about Trump's deep connection to Epstein, how he's best friends with Epstein, how they were criminals together. That comes out about Trump. MAGA goes, it's not even, I mean, if you really think about it, that's not even his signature. Did he even know? He didn't even know. He actually kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago, bro. You know what I'm saying? This is not, I mean, we don't even have the full picture. That's not accurate. What are you talking about? We still, MAGA's still, I mean, he's right over. Like, they can't help themselves. They can't help themselves. Total cucks to Trump. Total cucks to Trump. And I love this thing that they do. You see this all the time with like Tim Dillon. He'll be obsessed with the Epstein stuff. He'll talk endlessly about the Epstein stuff. He'll lay out all of his theories. But weird, somehow it never comes up. Tim Dillon never mentions, oh, did you see that thing about how Trump hosted a private event at Mar-a-Lago with only one other person? It was Trump, Epstein, and a bunch of teenage models with no one else around. And yes, there were allegations that came out of that event, by the way. Does he ever mention that Epstein learned human trafficking from Trump's modeling agency, his teenage modeling agency? Do they ever mention that, they were buddy-buddy with John Casablancas and Jean-Luc Brunel? These are well-known notorious pedophiles who were also involved in the teenage modeling agency. Is that something they talk about? Do they talk about how Trump allegedly offered Epstein a job in his first term? How Trump wrote that creepy love letter to Epstein? That Trump and Epstein literally shared a girlfriend. Not only that, but according to Michael Wolff, allegedly Melania slept with Epstein about a year before she even slept with Trump. And Epstein knew the inner workings of Trump's first White House and knew who hated who and who liked who and who took the positions on different issues. He knew all that stuff. Do they ever talk about how the first time Trump and Melania had sex was allegedly on the Lolita Express, and that Trump was on Epstein's plane 7 times that we know of, and that we have Epstein on literal audio tape saying he was Trump's best friend for a decade? Weird. All these people so obsessed with the Epstein case could tell you all the minutia of the Epstein case, but somehow they missed every single fact about Trump's deep connection to this man. Every single fact. Weird how that works. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the difference between the left and the right. Is that we have no problem at all. It's not even a thing. It's no issue whatsoever to say, oh, Bill Clinton's friends with him? Fuck that guy. He's a perv. He's a creep. He should probably be in prison. See how easy that was? But on the right, oh my God, they will contort themselves and do mental gymnastics and bend over backwards to just not even discuss any of the facts proving that Epstein and Trump were besties, right? They'll do that, and God forbid you ever get them to admit any of those things, then they'll start just making excuses. It'll never be, fuck that guy, he's a pedo, he's a creep, he's a criminal, he should also be locked up. He should be locked under the prison. That's where he should be locked up. But by the way, before I even wrap up this segment, I did want to give you this too, because this I feel like is super important and people aren't talking about it that much. But this was a big bombshell that came out from the New York Times the other day. Amidst all this Epstein madness, this is probably one of the bigger stories, because again, it shows you how deep the rot goes in the system. But here's what they say. How JPMorgan, the largest U.S. bank, enabled the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein. The bank lent him money, created accounts for his victims, disregarded suspicious transactions, and overruled employees who raised concerns. So in other words, there was a lot of suspicious financial activity where, people at JPMorgan were like, hey, dog, he might be human trafficking. He might be doing some child sex trafficking shit going on here. And the higher ups would go, let's not cause a fuss. let's not make a stink. This guy's got powerful friends. We have other powerful people who are swearing by this guy, Jeffrey Epstein. So we're going to go ahead and look the other way. Wow, would you look at that? How did this guy get so much money and power? How did he have so much influence? Well, when you go look at that birthday book, you find out 8 billionaires wrote him a letter for his 50th birthday. 8. He had connections at a high enough level to get JPMorgan to look the other way, knowing he was child sex trafficking. Clearly, the rock goes deep, and clearly, this guy was an intelligence asset. And by the way, I know I always say this, but you guys got to do it. You got to go watch that Netflix documentary on Jeffrey Epstein, because even just watching that documentary alone will give you a good picture of who this guy is, what he was doing, all the sketchy connections, even just that. And that's like a starter kit. You know, you're only getting like 20% of the full picture if you watch that, but it's enough to know, oh, this is bigger than anybody can really wrap their mind around. Yeah, and guess what? He was besties with our current president. Funny how that works, huh? Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.